Hello students, I hope you all have been completed this question in a very easy manner as this was a very easy question. In case of any query, I hope you all have been resolved your query also. Now students, the next point is the certificate to be furnished. We have already covered this point while discussing those points that the person who has borrowed the capital for the purpose of CA, that is for construction or acquisition. This certificate is required for only two purposes, that is construction or acquisition, because in that case limit is comparatively very high, that is of 2 lakh rupees. That's why they need a proof, they need a certificate. Okay, so he can take a certificate and can deposit into income tax department by filing his ITR. He can show it to them and he will get deduction. Okay, now student, there are some important points. The first important point is twin. I told you that in the case of self-occupied property, they limit the deduction. They put a restriction on deduction because they are not getting any revenue from the purpose who from any for any revenue from the person from the assessee who has used the purpose for a self-occupied property, because the annual value shall be nil in this case, so it is restricted the expenditure also. But student, in comparison, in the case of let out, obviously they are getting some revenue from the person because this annual value shall not be nil. So in that case, or in the case of let out, or in the case of deemed to be let out, because in that case also annual value is not nil. In both the cases there is no restriction for the deduction of interest payable. Okay, so student, the ceiling limit would not be applied to let out or deemed to be let out property. The second is student, I repeatedly say that interest payable on borrowed capital, interest paid or payable on borrowed capital. So students, it means whether the interest has been actually paid in the previous year or not, it will not affect the deduction under section 24b. It means if the assessee has claimed the deduction of interest, but he has not paid the to the other person, he can take that interest deduction on accrual basis also. So it means if the interest has been accrued in the previous year, he can take the deduction. No issue of actually paid. For example, if I compare this to municipal taxes, in municipal taxes, friends, even you can write it here as, in the case of municipal taxes, inside you can write it as it must be paid during the previous year. If it has been paid, deduction will be allowed, otherwise not. Or if he has paid in the future year, he will claim deduction in that future year only. But in the case of interest, there is no point of only paid. It can be paid or payable, so it can be on accrual basis also. Okay, so this is these all are very important points. That's why I separately mentioned in your important points. Okay, now the third point is, students, for example, I am explaining you this point with an example, you will be easily able to cover it. Student, for example, if a person has taken a house for rupees 5 lakh, if a Mr. A has purchased this house from Mr. B for rupees 5 lakh. Now RSSC is Mr. A in comparison of Mr. B. Now Mr. A is RSSC because he has purchased the house 5 lakh rupees for 5 lakh rupees. But students, what he do is he paid to Mr. B rupees 3 lakh and rupees 2 lakhs are still unpaid. Rupees 2 lakhs are still unpaid. That is, the purchase price is unpaid. So students, in that case, if there is a contract between Mr. A and Mr. B, that Mr. B, I'm not able to give you this 2 lakh rupees, but I will pay this money in future with interest. So student, don't you think it is an indirect way of taking loan from Mr. B? So yes, unpaid purchase price would also be considered as capital borrowed, and interest paid on that unpaid purchase price to the other person will be allowed as deduction under section 24. Okay, now the next important point is, students, if a person to pay this interest, students, in fact, I would like to clarify one thing. That's why, as this point is mentioned here, that's why I have not clarified it in your previous points. Right? As in our case, Mr. B has taken a loan of rupees 10 lakh rupees. to pay the interest, and he will be pay the interest of rupees 50,000 in our case. Now what Mr. B is expected to do means, what Mr. B is expected to do, to pay the interest amount also with the principal amount. Now he was not able to pay the amount, so to pay this loan, so to pay this complete price, in fact to pay this complete price, for example rupees 10,50,000, he takes in another loan. He took in another loan. So student, for that another loan, rupees 10 lakh rupees plus rupees 50,000 will be, we will bifurcate this amount into two parts. We will bifurcate this amount into two parts. Student, loan taken to pay this original loan amount, another loan taken to pay this original loan amount, and interest paid or payable on that loan amount will be allowed as reduction under section 24p. But loan taken to pay this interest amount, and on that loan if an assessee is going to pay some interest, so that interest will not be allowed as deduction. Okay, so interest on unpaid interest is not deductible, but interest paid on the loan which is taken to repay the original loan will be allowed as deduction. Okay, so this is very very important point. That's why I've already given you space here, so just write it. It is very 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 important point. To pay if he takes some loan, to pay the original loan only, not the interest part, original loan only, interest paid on that loan will be allowed as reduction, but interest on unpaid interest is not deductible. Okay, very important for your MCQ as well as for your practical question. Market is very important, and student must write this example here, Students, after this, I have made a chart for you in which I have complete section 24, that is section 24A and section 24B, fully summarized here. After going thorough with the above concept, you can revise from here also. But students, with these points also, if in your examination, one day prior to your examination, you are going to revise only with your this chart, you can do. But you have to revise important points also. So mention it here, that plus important points also. That's why I mentioned it is wanted. Okay. Now, students, the next part is computation of income from house property for different categories of property. Students, if you memorize, I have mentioned the different category of properties. For example, the first kind of property which is let out through the previous year, or the property which is let out for the part of the year, and for the part it is unoccupied. So, showing for that cases, we are going to discuss now practical question. Okay, students, I have mentioned the table here. The table also here, that to compute expected rent you have to take this. But as we have done that FMSD part in very detail, you are not required to do this table again. You can skip it. Okay. For the students who are taken my coachings, they are not required to do this. We have covered the FMSD part in a very good manner. Okay. Actually, this table is for those students who have taken just book, so that they can refer this and they can easily solve the questions also. But as we have discussed this in very thorough manner, so just skip it. Okay. Now, the illustration number 4 is Anirudh has a property whose municipal valuation, that is M, is 1,30,000 per annum. Fair rent is 1,10,000 per annum. Standard rent fixed by the Rent Control Act is 1,20,000. The property was let out for a rent of 11,000 per month throughout the previous year. It was let out throughout the previous year. That is de facto rent, or I can say actual rent, because in your examination you are going to write it as actual rent receivable or received. Okay, not de facto rent. Now, unrealized rent was 11,000, and all conditions prescribed by Rule 4 are satisfied. Okay, all the conditions are satisfied. He paid municipal taxes at 10% of municipal valuation. That is 10% of 1,30,000 per annum. 13,000 was paid. He paid. Okay, so he already paid municipal taxes. Interest on borrowed capital was 40,000 for the year. Compute the income from house property of Mr. Anirudh. Students, this question is very easy. What you're required to do is just do FMSD. After that, you will get the GAV part. Look, let's do one question. Okay, that will be easy for you. So, students, here F was 1,10,000. F was 1,10,000. M was 1,30,000. what we are required to do, f for m, whichever is higher. So we will take the part is student 1,20,000. Wait. It is 1,30,000. So f for m, whichever is higher, that is in our question it is 1,30,000. Now s is 1,20,000. So what we have to do is now m or s, this value or s, whichever is lower, that is 1,20,000. So the expected rent is 1,20,000. 1,20,000. Now compare it with actual rent received or receivable. As students, in this case, we also take receivable part. That is, if the income has not been received, but it is able to receive. It is not unrealized. It is able to receive. So we will also consider here it is. So we have to attempt in our examination that it is received or receivable. So if in case you write only received and you do not mention receivable, so examiner will assume it that you do not know that it will also contain receivable part. So he or she will deduct your marks. Okay, so do not commit that mistake. Now it will be 1,32,000 minus 11,000, that is unrealized rent. So now student, the part is 1,21,000. GAV is 1,21,000. In from GAV, we will deduct municipal taxes, that is 13,000. So NAV is 1,08,024A. What 24A said that? Look student, what in which way you can attempt it. Deduction under section 24. Mention A and mention B subsections as here. It's look nice. Okay. So 30% of NAV, that is 32,400. But student, do not commit mistake in mentioning sections. Do not mention B for 30% NAV. It will be completely wrong. Okay. Interest on borrowed capital. As it is not given, that for what purpose? As it has given in the question that for what purpose he has taken the property, he has considered the property on a rent basis, that is for a let out property. So and in the case of let out property, as they are getting some revenue from you, as annual value is not met, so there is no condition on deduction part. Okay, so what will you write here? As this is a let out property, there is no ceiling limit on it. Income from house property 35,600. Now student, one more important point. In examination, do not write it as that, as they are not getting any revenue from it, so they are not giving any limit, ceiling limit for it. Okay, do not mention it. It is just a memory technique for us. Okay, we are not going to share this memory technique with the examiner. It is between us. Okay. The next is to raise the question about the let out property which is vacant for part of the year. It means it is let out for part of the year and it is vacant for part of the year. So student, no need to refer this table. We have already done FMSD method. This is about Mr. Ganesh has a property. Municipal valuation is given. M is given. F is given 2 lakh. So whichever is higher, 2,50,000. S is 2,10,000. So whichever is lower, 2,10,000. That is expected rent will be 2,10,000. Now the property was let out for a rent of 20,000 per month. Okay. However, the tenant vacated the property on 31st January. It means he has the letter of income for 11 months and for 2 months he has vacated the property. So property was vacated. Unrealized rent was 20,000 from these months obviously, and all the conditions of rule 4 are also satisfied. He paid municipal taxes at 8% and we have already learnt about it. The municipal tax deduction will be for complete year, not only for let out period. Okay, so 8% of complete value, that is 2,50,000, 8 into 8%. Interest on borrowed capital 65,000 as it is for let out purpose. No ceiling limit will be here. But students, now what happened? Actual rent received or receivable for let out periods less unrealized rent. Students, look. What happened is the rent was 20,000 per annum, 20,000 per month into 11. That is 2,20,000 he received. But there was an unrealized rent of 20,000. So actual rent received or receivable was 2 lakh only. 2 lakh only. Now students, now we compare the expected rent and actual rent. Expected rent was 2,10,000. Students, wait. Students, wait. There's some mistake we have committed. Students, This is not this is 31st January. 31st January, it means he has let out the property only for 10 months. I have by mistake, sorry, by mistake I have taken it for 11 months. Okay, as it is 31st January, so 2 months are vacated, 2 months are vacated. So it means he has took the he has given the property a let out for 10 months. So it means he has taken the rent of 2 lakh minus unrealized rent, that is 20,000. So the actual rent received or receivable will be 1,80,000. Okay. Now students, expected rent is 2,10,000. Actual rent received or receivable is 1,80,000. In the simple terms, we will see that, okay, whichever what we will see. Students, just tell me what we will see in that case. In this case, students, in the normal case, what we are going to see. Just tell me. Just tell me. I'm not going to. I'm not going to tell you this answer. You are going to tell me this answer. Students, tell me this answer. Just memorize it, just recall what we have learned, and just tell me this answer, because when this is one of the question which has been repeatedly came in examination, which has been came in examination in very attempts. So just tell me students. I hope all are giving the right answer. Student, in the normal case, we are going to do this, that whichever is higher at whichever is higher shall be taken as the is the GAV. So in that case, we will taken the 2,10,000 rupees as GAV. Okay, but there is a twist in this question, and the twist is that there are 2 months vacancy in this case. There are 2 months vacancy in this case, and if in that case there are no 2 months vacancy, so in that case the actual rent will be there's a rent of 20,000 per month. So if we add 1,80,000, which is actual rent received or receivable after deducting unrealized rent, plus 20,000 into 2 for Feb and March, 40,000. So it will be 1,80,000 plus 40, that is 2,20,000, and in that case actual rent would be higher than standard rent, and in that is expected rent would be the actual rent. And we have already learned that if the actual rent is lower than expected rent, just because due to the vacancy, so in that case the GAV shall be, student, just tell me the GAV shall be what the GAV shall be. Tell me student what the GAV shall be. So in that case, the GAV shall be the actual rent only. The GAV shall be the actual rent only. Okay. So in that case, the GAV is 1,80,000. Actual GAV shall be the actual rent received or receivable. But we have to compare it with the, if the vacancy does not occur, then what happened? But then and the GAV part, we shall take actual rents received or receivable, that is 1,80,000. But compare it with the total. If the amount is coming less due to the vacancy, then take it as GAV. Okay, it is very important, friend. It has been came in examination in several attempts. Okay, now less municipal taxes 8%, then 30% on every NAV. There will be no ceiling limit, so complete 65,000 will be allowed as deduction, and income from house property shall be 47,000. The next is about self-occupied. Friend, this is your homework. This is very easy question. Okay, no need to refer these parts. Just revise. Just do this question. You will be able to do, and it is one. It is also very important question. So just do it. Okay. But trust me, you are going to do it in just 2 to 3 minutes, as this very easy question. Next is about, students, come on the page number 20. Page number 20. Srimati Rajalakshmi owns a house property at Adyar in Chennai. The municipal value of the property is 5 lakh. Municipal value 5 lakh. Fair rent is also given 4 lakh 20,000. Standard rent is 4 lakh 80,000. The property was let out for 50,000 per month up to December 2019. Up to December 2019, it means the property was let out for 9 months. 9 months. Thereafter, the tenant vacated the property, and Shrimati Rajalakshmi used the house for self-occupation. After that, the property was not vacant here, student. The property was not vacant here. The property was self-occupied. And in the vacancy and in the self-occupation, there is a so much difference back in the context of our provision. Okay. So just remind it in mind. Rent for the months of November and December 2019 could not be realized in spite of the owner's efforts, and all the conditions of Rule 4 are satisfied. So it means he has actually received the amount only for 7 months. Okay. Municipal taxes she paid at 12% of municipal valuation. Obviously, if there's only 12%, so 12% means 12% of municipal valuation, any percentage of municipal valuation. She had paid interest of 25,000 during the year for amount borrowed for repair for the house property. Compute her income. Okay, we have to compute her income. So students, in that case, expected rent shall be higher of municipal valuation and fair rent, which is 5 lakh rupees, but which is restricted to standard rent 4 lakh 80,000. So expected rent shall be 4 lakh 80,000. Now actual rent received or receivable is, as the rent was 50,000 per month. 50,000 per month. Print, this is multiply. This is a printing mistake, just correct it. This is multiply. Actual rent received or receivable for the period less unrealized rent 50,000 into 9 months, that is let out period, minus 50,000 into 2. So 4 lakh 50 minus 1 lakh, that is 3 lakh 50,000. Now compare the expected rent for the whole year with the actual rent received or receivable for the let out period. Now GAV shall be the higher of the following, which shall be 4 lakh 80,000. Now you might be thinking that, ma'am, why we have not compared it with 12 months fully? Why you have not compared it full 12 months? Because when there is not any vacant part of the house, now house is not vacant for period, the house was self occupied. It means it has been occupied, it has been occupied. If it was vacant, then we compare it and then we find out that is the lower part is just due to vacancy or not. Okay, so just do this question in a very conceptual manner. Okay, do not get confused in it. After that, the complete question is very easy. You can do it easily. Interest on borrowed capital is 25,000. Complete shall be allowed as it is for let out purpose, and even for the self-occupied property, it is from the limit has been less than that. After that, it is deemed to be let out property. Students, it's a mark. It is very important question. Mark, it is very 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 important question. In fact, okay, very 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 important question. Illustration 8. Ganesh has 3 houses. Now it comes that Ganesh has 3 houses, all of which are self-occupied. But we know that a person can assess his house property maximum up to 2 self house properties as self-occupied. The third property he or she have to be taken as is deemed to be let out. So in this question we have to find out that which is the third property here, which shall be deemed to be let out here. Okay, the particular of the houses for the previous year 2019-20 are as under. Students, what we have to do in these kind of question is that, first of all, what you want to do? First of all, what you want to do? You tell me, ma'am. We want to select the house property in the manner in which we can pay the less tax to government, in which we can pay the least tax to government, Okay, students, no problem. It means you have to select the combination of houses. That if we select house 1 plus house 2 as self-occupied and house 3 as let out, or shall we take house 1 plus house 3 as self-occupied and house 2 as let out, or shall we take house 2 plus house 3 as self-occupied and house 1 as let out? We have to compute all options. We have to compute the taxability in all options, and in which option we get the least taxation, we will select it. Okay, so now the way of doing this question is, students, first of all, to make it easy in examination and to do not make it lengthy in your examination, do one thing: compute compute the income of these houses, first of all, by deeming that the all 3 houses are deemed to be let out property, by deeming all these 3 houses as let out property. Okay, I have also mentioned this in answer. Let us first calculate the income from each house property, assuming that they are deemed to be let out. If this question comes in an examination, which are very high chances, you have to mention this line also if you are going to do this question by my way. Okay, so do not get feared that, okay, if this is ma'am's way, is ICAI is going to give marks? Yes, because this is ICAI's once method also. Okay, this is also ICAI's method, but this is very very easy method. So do not skip to any other method of ICAI. Just restrict to it. Okay. So computation of income from house property of Ganesh for the assessment year, house 1, house 2, house 3, all are about. First we have calculated expected rent, then then as student this is only deemed to be let out part, so expected rent shall be GV because there is no actual rent received or receivable. Less municipal taxes, NAV will come, less deductions from it. Okay, so we have computed if the three house properties, the separate income of these three house properties by assuming it is deemed to be let out. Now what we will do, we will treat it as we will compute different options. For example, if we compute house 1 and house 2 as self-occupied, it means nil value, annual value shall be taken as nil of these two house properties, and house 3 shall be deemed to be let out. Okay, so in that case what we are going to do, house 1 self-occupied, okay, no problem, so annual value shall be nil. House 2 self-occupied, annual value shall be nil. But friends, here this NAV shall be nil, but as interest on borrowed capital is given, and as it is self-occupied case, and he says that interest on money borrowed for repair, that is R3 purpose 55,000 is taken. So for R3 purpose, it is a minor work, only 30,000 shall be allowed as deduction. So there will be loss from this, that is minus 30,000. Then house 3 deemed to be let out, which we have already computed in above part, 73,640. It will compute to 43,640. So in the same manner, we will compute our three options, which you are going to compute at your homework. Okay. After that, students, we noticed that from the first option, taxable income shall be 43,640 as income 70,640 and minus 30,000. Interest on borrowed capital 43,640. In the second option, house 1, house 3 self-occupied option, income from house property shall be only rupees 1840. It means you have to pay tax only on 1840. In the third option, it is income is 19,800. So student, as a taxation expert, which option you are going to select? Ma'am, we are going to select option 2. So you have to write it here. Okay. Now student, the next question, illustration number 9. Student, mark illustration 8 is very important, and also you have to do it by your own also. Okay. We have refer this question in our class also, but you have to do it by your hands also. Okay. Illustration 9. Prem owns a house in Madras. Okay. During the previous year 1920, this is the complete house of Prem. 2 by 3 portion of the house was self-occupied. 2 by 3 was self-occupied and 1 by 3 was let out. So we have to compute the different parts for it. So students, and for let out purpose, he gave the property on 8,000 per month. Okay, actual rent is given, municipal value is given, fair rent is given, standard rent is given. He paid municipal tax at 10% of municipal value. Okay, loan is taken for of rupees 25 lakh, and it is taken by him during the previous year 2015 for acquiring the property. Okay. Interest on loan paid during the previous year 1920 was 1,20,000 only. Compute Prem's income from house property for the assessment year 2020-21. So students, what you have to do is, students, just assume in your mind that there are two different house properties, but the question is that the combined figures are given. As student, it is given that the complete municipal valuation is 3 lakh rupees. So but we have to consider the municipal value only for let out purpose. As for the self-occupied purpose, the annual value shall be nil. So what we will take, 3 lakh into 1 by 3. For this part, the municipal value is only rupees 1 lakh rupees. In the same manner, we will compute fair rent. In the same manner, we will compute standard rent and all. Okay, and student, in the same manner only, we will compute our municipal taxes also. Okay, as in the question, municipal taxes are 3 lakh 10%, but we have to take it only for 1 by 3rd, because for self-occupied purpose we can write it as it is nil, and we will take interest deduction from here. So students, in this manner you will be able to do this question also. Okay, just revise till here. Now we will do the next part in next lecture.